All right, so you're interested in Bitcoin, huh? Well, get this. It just had its best week in over a month.
Yeah, a 9% jump is nothing to sneeze at.
Exactly. CNBC even called it Bitcoin's best week in over a month.
It's a significant move for any asset.
Especially one that's known for being kind of volatile.
Exactly.
So what's driving this sudden upward momentum? Was this anticipated, or are we all just along for the ride?
Well, predicting Bitcoin's short-term movements is kind of like,
Like trying to predict the weather.
yeah, something like that.
Okay, fair enough.
But this surge does seem to be fueled by a few different things happening in the market right now.
Okay, so it's not just a random spike.
Right. It seems to be connected to some broader trends we've been seeing.
You've piqued my interest. And speaking of trends, I did notice one of the articles mention CNBC crypto world.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it seems like they're really leaning into daily trading updates and industry analysis these days.
It's true.
It feels like cryptocurrency is stepping out of the shadows and into the mainstream spotlight.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What do you think is driving that?
Well, this increased visibility, especially from established financial news sources like CNBC, suggests a growing acceptance of cryptocurrency, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not really a fringe movement anymore,
Yeah,
It's becoming harder and harder to just ignore it.
especially for maybe people who were skeptical in the past.
Exactly, even for the doubters.
Okay, so we have this surge in Bitcoin's price, increased media attention, and just this general buzz that cryptocurrency is becoming more mainstream. It's a lot to unpack. What happens next? Is this a temporary blip or a sign of something more substantial brewing?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
To really understand where this might be going, I think we need to look beyond just the price.
Okay.
We need to figure out, the motivations and actions of those who really hold a lot of influence in this space.
I like it.
And that brings us to another interesting point. So you remember that Forbes article you shared about Elon Musk?
Yeah, the one where he's talking about Tesla and Bitcoin.
Yeah, that one. Well, it looks like Tesla just moved a huge chunk of Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're talking $750 million worth.
Seriously?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so what does that even mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's kind of hard to say for sure. Everyone's speculating, of course.
Right.
It's a big move.
It makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Are they pulling out? Are they just diversifying?
Could be a strategic thing.
Right.
Maybe they're just reallocating assets.
Yeah.
Or taking some profits off the table.
It is a lot of money, even for Tesla.
Exactly. Or it could be as simple as, managing their treasury in response to market conditions. And don't forget, we've been seeing this trend of institutional interest in Bitcoin growing for a while now.
Right.
So this could just be part of that.
So Tesla is just maturing its Bitcoin strategy.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. Although I have to admit, this does feel kind of connected to some of the stuff he's been saying lately.
You mean about the national debt?
Yeah, and that bankruptcy warning.
Right.
And then he had that tweet about government spending. It's a bit, unsettling.
Yeah, I get it.
Should we be worried? Is he on to something?
Well, his concerns about government spending and inflation aren't totally coming out of left field.
Okay.
I mean, the national debt has been going up.
One of the articles mentioned that, yeah.
Right. So inflation is a real concern for a lot of people.
Okay.
And what he seems to be getting at is this idea of debasement.
Debasement?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, that sounds a little scary.
It's definitely a loaded word.
Yeah.
But basically, it's this economic theory that says when governments spend too much and print too much money, it can devalue the currency.
Oh, so it's like they're diluting it.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So you end up with more money, in a sense,
Yeah.
but each dollar is worth less.
So how does this,
Debasement.
Yeah, debasement. How does this connect to Bitcoin?
So some investors, especially those who are bullish on Bitcoin, see it as a hedge against that kind of economic uncertainty.
Right.
Because cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin aren't controlled by government.
Right. They're decentralized.
Right. So they're seen by some as a safer bet in a way.
A safe haven.
Exact.
So Bitcoin could be like a shield against economic instability?
Potentially.
It really makes you think about things differently, especially with someone like Elon Musk in the picture.
Right.
I mean, he's got his hands in both worlds, traditional finance with Tesla, and then the whole crypto scene.
And let's not forget about his little meeting with El Salvador's president.
Oh, yeah, Nayib Bukele, the Bitcoin president.
The one and only.
That whole thing was kind of wild, wasn't it? Making Bitcoin legal tender like that?
Yeah, it was a bold move for sure.
I remember thinking it was straight out of a movie, a tech billionaire and a president shaking hands over Bitcoin.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's pretty surreal.
But is that really the future, or was it just a publicity stunt?
It's definitely a future, I think. Whether it's the future is up for debate.
Well, what are the downsides? I mean, for a whole country to go all in on Bitcoin.
Well, the volatility is a big one.
Right, because it goes up and down so much.
Exactly. You want your currency to be stable,
Yeah,
you know, predictable.
makes sense.
Bitcoin's price swings can make things a little unpredictable, to say the least.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. All right, so let's recap. We've talked about Bitcoin's price going up, Tesla doing its thing, Elon Musk with his warnings, and then this whole idea of debasement. It feels like things are changing so fast, like we're on the edge of something big.
It's definitely an interesting time to be paying attention to all of this.
That's for sure. So where do we go from here? What should people be watching out for?
Well, the most important thing is to stay informed, keep learning,
Okay.
keep an eye on the price of Bitcoin, of course, but don't get too caught up in the day-to-day ups and downs.
Right, because it can be a roller coaster.
Exactly. Instead, try to focus on the bigger picture.
Okay, so look for the trends.
Exactly. And who the key players are,
Yeah.
and really try to understand what all of this could mean in the long run.
So much to learn. Any final thoughts for our listeners as they navigate this wild world of cryptocurrency?
Well, we've seen how someone like Elon Musk can literally move the market with a tweet, right?
It's kind of scary when you think about it.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, in this age of decentralized finance, where anyone could potentially have a voice, how much influence do we really have as individuals?
That's a great question to end on. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
Anytime. This stuff is fascinating.